Warriors, welcome to this video, my friends. Today, I'm talking about emotional distress. But before I do, I want you guys to understand one very important idea here. The idea is that anxiety isn't all in your head for everybody. So you'll see me go through a lot of mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, energetic processes in these videos and in my podcasts. But let's understand that hormones can play a massive role in your emotional distress and your anxiety levels. Specifically, we're talking about number one, the stress hormone, which is cortisol. That can play a major role in how you feel throughout the entire day. The second one is sex hormones, mainly estrogen and testosterone. And finally, your thyroid hormone. So let's understand that, guys, when we're dealing with anxiety, it doesn't have to always be in your head. You know, a lot of people used to tell me, Dennis, just, think better, go learn to relax, all these things. But I think that the important thing to understand here is that if the results are not in line with the effort that you're putting into something, then there may be something related to some hormonal activity that's contributing to your anxiety levels. Now, today, I want to make sure that I ingrain you guys with these top 10 components to overcoming emotional distress so that we can lessen the weight on your shoulders and in your mind and in your body starting today, okay? So the first thing that I want you guys to make sure we begin implementing today is what's called state break. State break is where you do something that the mind does not expect. Remember a long time ago where I came up with a communication system, a system with my fiance, Robin, that I told her, I said, Robin, every single time I go into anxious Dennis mode, please, please, please do something that breaks my pattern. So what she would do is she would tell me a dirty joke. She would hit me on the shoulder, punch me on the shoulder. She would tell me to do some jumping jacks. We would go for a walk. Anything that goes against the normal routine. Routine meaning thinking, behaving, which is then causing the emotional problem that I was going through. So the first thing to help with emotional distress is find a good state break for you. Number two is disidentify, which means make sure that you see what you're going through right now as something that you're thinking, the words that you're saying, the actions that you're partaking in, the images that you're unconsciously running with, but it's not who you are as a person. These are things that are going on in your mind and in your body, consciously and unconsciously, but let's understand that it's not who you are. It's just things that you're doing. It's just things that you're thinking that are causing you to feel this way. A lot of people internalize it and say, I am this label, I am that label, I am, this person, I am anxiety, I am panic disorder, I am depression. No. Depression comes with a set of skill sets that you've unconsciously practiced to then create depression in you. You are not depression. You are not anxiety. Number three is connect to your new identity. Connect to your new identity. Too many people don't have the vision, okay, of who they want to become. And that's a problem because the mind is a meaning-making machine. And it puts meanings towards everything. It pairs something to either being good, neutral, or bad, and therefore you react emotionally. So we must begin identifying with someone new and connecting with that person. For example, in my own recovery, I saw a couple of role models, influencers, as people that I wanted to become. I wanted to think like them. I wanted to act like them. I wanted to be them. So I started acting as if I were those people, not in my behaviors only, but learning so much about them that I started to think like them in certain situations. I asked myself, how would that person think right now while I'm feeling this? And so I began identifying with someone new. And the more I practiced the internal processes of that new identity and the external behaviors, the faster I became who I wanted to become. So I urge you guys to starting today, in order to overcome this emotional distress, start tapping into this new identity. Who is it? How do they think? How do they speak to other people? How do they act? What sort of images, what sort of habits do they partake in? How do they walk? What kind of posture do they have? What kind of breathing patterns? So many different factors, my friends. Number 4, self-talk. When I was in my anxiety stages, my self-talk was so debilitating. I never paid attention to it, and my default mode was based around catastrophic thinking, beating myself up over what was happening. Every single day I said, "Oh, Dennis, you are just useless. Oh, Dennis, you've wasted so much time with this anxiety thing. Why can't you just snap out of it? Look at everybody else living that." I used to beat myself up over what I was going through. And my self-talk did not help me move forward and progress towards somebody new. And so it's really, really important, my friends, that as you're on this journey from your present state, present emotional state, to your desired emotional state, it's important to focus on what sort of self-talk you have throughout the day. Every single time that a negative self-talk occurs internally, an irrational one that's based around emotion solely, you must begin to identify that in that moment and begin replacing it with great evidence behind the new rational way of seeing something. Give yourself some credit for your progress. When was the last time you actually said, "Man, I'm proud that I went to the grocery store. I am so proud that I spoke to 2 people today and I socialized outside of my comfort zone. I'm proud of myself. I'm proud that I sat in that bed and I experienced all my sensations rather than acting on the thoughts, the feelings of, I gotta run from here. Oh my God, this is catastrophic," and all that stuff. Self-talk is so, so important. So let's pay attention to it starting today. Number 5 is imagination. Now, when I'm talking about imagination, I'm talking about one of, if not the most important tools that you have in your arsenal in order to create new emotions within you. Your imagination as a child was unbelievable. It was incredible. I want to fly to the moon. I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a doctor. I want to help the world. I want to be an athlete. I want to be all these things. I want to help people. Your imagination was incredible. What happened? Life got really serious. And when life got really serious, we shut down our internal resources in our brains, in our left hemisphere, in our right hemisphere, thoughts, images. We started to default towards being this serious person that needed to over-worry over everything because it made us feel more protected and safe. My friends, your imagination. It's so, so crucial to get back in touch with that childlike side of you. Because the mind, when experiencing an imagination in full effect and great emotion behind it, doesn't know the difference between what's happening in the physical world and what's happening in your mind. You hear about spontaneous remissions all the time with cancers, neurological issues, you name it. My friends, these are no accidents. So many people that are paralyzed have no feeling in their body. They can't move anything, but they do have power in their minds and their imaginations, and they create things that doctors never expected, that family members never expected, simply by imagining things in great emotion. So, imagination is a tool that you must begin stepping into and practicing on a daily basis if we're going to overcome the emotional distress that we're currently feeling, my friends. The next one is meaning shift. Meaning shift, meaning you have to turn one what if into another what if. What if I die? What if I survive? What if this is a physical ailment? What if it's just anxiety? You know, what if that person is really judging me harshly on my symptoms? And what if they saw through me? Oh my God, are they going to think I'm crazy? What if they don't give a crap? So many times when we're feeling something emotionally, especially negatively, we tend to roll with the thoughts that accompany that feeling. And the meaning, we tend to forget that there's a different way of seeing something. Our fight or flight response takes off. We start to identify the fears and the threats in the outside world. And a lot of times we forget that we can see something in a different light as well. Oh my goodness. No, it's not that, it's actually this. So starting today, your job is to be conscious enough in those moments where you start to jump to conclusions, fortune telling in the future, all these things that don't help your new character development process, and begin seeing the other side of things. So turning one what if into another what if and going, yeah, that's a bit more rational. That makes more sense rather than, an earthquake appearing in the next 30 minutes or so. Anything catastrophic. So meaning shift. The next one, number 7, is build your faith muscle and trust in your God. You'll notice that a lot of people that have these incredible changes that happen in their lives tend to put their trust in something else, their belief, their faith in something. Not solely, but they do feel a sense of relief within them when they put their problems, their trust into something else, their problems onto something else. So spiritually, thinking that, okay, if I'm consciously trying to always fix my symptoms of anxiety, I just need an answer all the time, and therefore I worry all the time, and this keeps me in maintenance mode. I'm not getting much better, not getting, worse, but I'm just right there. Too many people live this way with anxiety, when in fact you could put your trust in your body, because your body is the greatest healing mechanism there is on the planet, and say, I'm going to allow my body to take care of this today. And I'm going to step aside because the evidence shows that my body has been able to handle these symptoms, these sensations of anxiety over and over again in the past. Great. So putting your trust in God, in some kind of spiritual practice, in your body, will then get the what ifs out of your mind, will get the negative thinking, the irrational ways of seeing something out of the way, and therefore you can begin to trust in another entity, a spirit, an energy. Put it on that, right? You don't have to have answers to everything, okay? Although your rational mind wants answers to everything, that's most likely the worst thing to do, is try to fix every single situation. Put your trust in something. The next one is, number 8, is move towards a character shift. Don't try to overcome anxiety. Too many people today, I got to overcome anxiety. Everything I'm doing, I'm overcoming anxiety. And they start to try too hard. And trying too hard can then create more anxiety. So what you want to do instead is base your intention on building a character rather than trying to run away from anxiety, trying to put it away from you. Focus on what sort of thoughts, words, actions, imagination processes, your behaviors, your routines, what is aligned with these? Which character is aligned with all of these things? So from today onwards, you're moving towards building a character, not trying to put anxiety aside or not trying to overcome anxiety. Too many people are stuck on this idea of overcoming anxiety. When you overcome anxiety, you turn into a different person. You have to turn into a different person in order to overcome anxiety. So let's focus on the big picture here, not just your anxiety and certain stressors, but molding that new statue, that beautiful you, where you look at that person, you say, my God, I'm proud of me. I'm proud of my behaviors. I'm proud of the way I walk. I'm proud of the way I talk. I've trained these skills. Now I'm happy. What happened to anxiety? Oh my goodness. What happened to you down there? It's been a while. So molding your character development, not so much moving away from anxiety. Number 9, stop aligning your thinking with how you feel. Too many people today feel sad, so they think sad. They feel anxious, so they think anxious. They feel depressed, so they think depressed. The truth is that if you're conscious enough and you implement a tiny amount of willpower, you will be able to think differently about the situation. The sadness is a sign, is a signal that something you are neglecting in your life or something you are doing too much. So when you feel something, don't feel the need to act on those thoughts that appear. You can think differently. If I feel sad, there's something that's causing that sadness. And it's my job and my responsibility to figure out what it is, and find a new perspective so it doesn't make me feel so sad. All of a sudden, the emotions change. I feel emotionally different. I'm not so distressed anymore. So you don't have to think the way you feel. In fact, too many people today feel something, so they react that way. And then they label themselves, and then they justify it in some way. No. Bad cycle. My friends, number 10, finally, consciously decide what reality you want to live in. Consciously decide. Don't wait for things to happen in your life. Starting today, consciously decide what reality you are going to live in for the rest of your life. Become committed. Become relentless. And my friends, you don't have to fully believe that you can change. You just have to begin the process. You just have to begin building your character. That's the key, my friends. So take these top 10 things, these components to overcoming emotional distress, put them into your life starting today. Make sure to hit the bell below to get all the notifications for my videos, my friends, and subscribe to the Anxiety Guy YouTube channel. I think it's one of the best anxiety support channels. If you have any questions, hit me up on anxietyexit.com as well. We've got the End the Anxiety program, the #1 CBT-based program for anxiety sufferers today. I love you all so much. You are more than anxiety. See you soon.